Hello, fear-free friends. It is Julie. Why does that look weird? Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's all the way open. Ta-da! We had like this, we're having technical difficulties. Welcome to Fear-Free Living with Julie Lavender. I am Julie Lavender, little Julie Lavender from Bakersfield, California. It just proves you never know where you can go in life, you know? You could be from Fresno, you could be from Bakersfield, Tulare. Any of you from Tulare? Oh my gosh, you just think you know you could be your life could be huge depending on how much ego you have between your ears. In any event, welcome to Fear Free Living. I just wanted to be faithful to show up to talk to you a little bit about why you have to choose to change the paradigm out of which you live. Fear free living is not an option. It's not just for a few, um, rare souls who have sort of the constitution of confidence, or for those few people that, weren't traumatized or didn't have bad things happen to them. Fear free living, I might bounce over here to the chat and see if anything's going on, is a determination to live the way God designed you to live. There's something about the Bible where I don't know how many times he said it to us in various different ways through angels, through prophets, through of Christ, through the interactions you see with God and man, but over and over and over and over. And one of you smarty pantses out there might actually be able to Google-ify it or DuckDuckGo it to find it. How many times does God say in the Bible, do not fear? Well, I always thought that was sort of just type of thing, you know, kind of like I don't really want you guys to feel bad, so let me just give you a little embrace, a little kind of, calm down. It's going to be fine type of thing. And so I don't know about you, but I think there was a disconnect for me every time I would read something when I was actually in a fear state. When you're in a fear state, your body is doing something extremely important. It's doing something that it was created to do to keep you safe. Fear serves an amazing purpose. And the naturalists among us want us to believe that fear is an old reptilian type of thing, that somehow in our evolutionary process there was a time when you and I's ancestors were running around in loincloths, running from beasts and with spears and making cave paintings, and we just didn't know any better not to be terrified all the time of the bad stuff, including maybe eclipses and who knows, scared of fire, whatever we thought. And so there's this theory that that fear and the fight or flight response is some kind of ancient, under evolutionary process within us that makes us somewhat irrational. And if we could understand from a rational point of view, we wouldn't have these needs coming up in us through all the chemicals, especially adrenaline, to run from what terrifies us or what is a perceived threat. And so there very often naturalists, materialists miss the point that the fear, the acute stress response, the fight or flight thing that we experience is actually a very highly, finely tuned and intelligent mechanism within the body. And so when you're afraid, your body is there. It's in it. It's 110. It's all encompassing. It's, there's some experiences in life when you can experience it as an influence, a wisp, a wave, a moment, a discomfort. There's something about fear, however, which is global. It's total. It reaches through your whole being, body, soul, and spirit in such a way that it's so enormously uncomfortable that we will do almost anything to avoid having a conversation with our fears. And so when a fear state is happening to you and it's so completely global, so completely all encompassing, it's hard to feel like it's doing you a favor. But as we talk about here, you need to understand that fear is part of a system of the body, intelligently designed and finely tuned as part of your body's responsibility to keep you safe. Your body is designed to keep you safe. It's designed to be your interface with the world around you, to allow you to function in inner space as opposed to outer space, like where you'd have a space suit or a scuba suit if you were in, sea or under the water or whatever. And so your body is functioning this way, and it's meaning to be talking to you and serving you and helping you understand what you believe. But when that happens, and it's hard to feel like you really want to chat with your fear and with your body and say, well, let's just sit down and have a cup of coffee and have you kind of tell me what's going on. Let's kind of reason through this. And so I have found through the years that when I've been in a fear state and I've encountered scriptures that like, don't be afraid, I'm with you. Unless there was a particular presence of God in it as an experience for me to hold on to, very often I would find those verses to be a little bit like a nice pat on the back, but not something that necessarily made me feel better or made my body state change. Then I think I came to understand that scriptures about fear and commandments not to be afraid, or when somebody can speak into your life authoritatively and say, calm down, you're going to be fine. Let me give you a different reality. Those things have to be seen and understood a little bit differently than just comfort. We see fear scriptures and the don't fear, or the people in our lives that come along and kind of pat us on the shoulders and give us a nice warm fuzzy. We see those as just kind of comforting. And depending on how afraid you are and what you're going through, they are not only just sort of comforting, they seem a little lame, a little, I don't know, like, um, yeah, well, thanks a lot. But, between you and me, I'm going to be knocking back my anti-anxiety medicine just to get through the week. Right. Or, well, thanks, I appreciate it. It's like those words when you have a major loss and someone says, like, for example, when you had a miscarriage and somebody says, well, I'm really sorry for you, but you can have another baby. You want to go, no, I want the one I just lost. Right. Or if somebody talks to you, hello, Scott. So good to see you. The other thing is very those, well, your pet, your beloved pet died, and they'll say, "Don't worry, you can get another dog." Right? You kind of go, I get where you're going, but I'm just telling you that I'm so completely in the emotion, and it's really hard for me to receive your pat on the back or your moment. Or your kind of it's always darkest before the dawn thing as anything that really authentically changes the fear state. So when you read scriptures or people try to comfort you, very often it's sort of like whistling in the wind or something. You go, well, thank you very much, God. I know I shouldn't feel this way, but I still do. But what if we interpret the scripture is do not fear as a command to shepherd our brain? Just like somebody coming along going, here, let me give you a change of reality. I need you to know and something. I need you to give you something to grab onto that gives you the authority to change what's happening in your body. And that's exactly what the do not fears of the Bible and the conversation that we're having here is all about. It's giving you authority to go to deal with what's happening in your brain, because your mind is not your brain and you're not your body. You live in your body. When you have authority to understand how it works, you have authority as the person who shepherds, as the software of your intelligence, your soul, your mind, emotions, and will is implemented in the hardware of your brain and the hardwiring of your body. So, what you need to understand about fear and the command not to fear is essentially it's giving you the authority, the permission, and the call to take responsibility for what lives in here, what goes on in your behavior, in order to step out of a fear state. Fear not, do not fear, be not afraid. They're all commandments for you to take authority over what's happening in between here, so that this part of you, the physical part of you, comes under the government of a higher truth. The higher truth of why you can live, why can you can be secure, why you don't need to live in shame, why you don't need to live with a constant feeling like you could die, a constant feeling of such threat based on emotional responses to traumatic experiences, real or perceived, that is then transferred to the body, which and your brain and your body only know one thing: keep her safe, keep him safe, keep him safe, keep him safe. And so, what the interesting thing of it is, if we function in the oh my gosh, keep me safe paradigm, do you know what that says to the body? It says to the body, create more anxiety because we're not safe. We need to be safe. We got 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 to be safe. Do you realize how diabolical it is? Diabolical that for over a year, every time you talk to someone, there was a good likelihood that the last thing they would say to you before you got off the phone was, stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. Do you know that that's one of the worst messages you can send to a body that's already in fight or flight and acute stress response? The worst thing you can say to your brain and to your body is stay safe, stay safe. Why? Because it's another message that says you aren't, you might be, at any moment the rug could be pulled out from under you. You're a goner. Something could kill you. You could hurt someone else. Oh my gosh, we're all going to die. You better be constantly aware of everything that could come against you so you can live in a leveraged state of always trying to be safe and stay safe. And all that does is send a deep message from your brain, that thinking, that perception, that self-protective mechanism sends a message to your brain to keep you in constant anxious awareness of your mortality and the possibility you could die. Telling someone to stay safe is not nice. It's not helpful. You say, fear not. Do not choose to live out of a fear state. Here's you to living in authority over the thoughts and the emotions that right now are telling your brain to freak out and keep your entire body in an acute stress response of fight, flight, or flee. When God says, fear not, be not afraid, he's inviting you into a level of authority over what you think, you hear, you say, and you do that communicates to your brain that you are safe. And when your brain receives the message in a compelling way consistently enough that you're safe, you're secure, you're loved, you're accepted, God is with you, nothing can come against you. You are eternally, if you know Jesus, eternally secure. And if you don't know him, you're invited into that. When your body gets the message that there's nothing they can do to harm me because I am bigger than this earth. I am bigger than what is humanly possible. I am bigger than the limitations of humanity and evil and wickedness and sin and whatever. I'm hidden in Christ. There's something else going on. I have the capacity to think thoughts that create emotional and physical freedom from anxiety. When God says, be not afraid, do not fear, he's giving you the keys to your own freedom and saying, if you will believe what I tell you to believe, and I invite you to believe, and if you will think like a winner, and you will think like somebody who's cared for, and think like somebody who's saved and going to heaven, and think like somebody who has authority over sickness and disease, and live like that, and cause that to be the language out of that you communicate to yourself and others around you, your brain has no other choice but to rewire itself for that reality, and your body has no other choice really but to settle down and live in a free state instead of a fear state. Your brain believes what you believe. Your brain believes what you think. Your body responds to that. So choosing to live fear free without control of fear, out from under that, is not just an option for nice people who don't feel bad things. Choosing to live and be fear free is your way out of the prison of how you've lived and behaved for your entire life. Just at the edge of always being triggered by the latest news report, the latest VAERS report, the latest mandate, the latest person telling you you're not safe, the latest person taking your freedom, taking your liberty, or whatever it is, the latest person triggering you from an old wound. If we do not understand that we control and we shepherd what goes in, what we think, what we choose to believe, and how we heal from old wounds, we live constantly at the mercy of physical, emotional, visual stimulation that triggers the stay safe, stay safe, stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. You know, when people say to me, stay safe, I say, stay free, stay free. And part of staying free, my friends, the central part of staying free is determining to live out of the truth, the truth, the truth about who you are, the truth about God, what God thinks about you, the truth about heaven, the truth about your calling, the truth about your authority as a believer in Christ, the truth that you can step into that if you're not yet a believer, the truth that there's nothing they can do to harm you because your life is hidden with Christ, the truth that everywhere you go to win, that you were given all authority over the power of the enemy. And when that becomes a reality to you, and you begin to walk in that and you begin to heal from the experiences that taught you not to believe that, guess what? Your brain comes into alignment and your body begins to calm and you begin to live in a state that cannot be provoked by the latest knucklehead on the news or the latest Karen who wants you to be afraid and give up all your rights in order for some fleeting idea that your life can be kept safe with something. You just obey and just conform, right? It's a lie. We step out of that. We step over that. And when we do that, we take up that command to live fear free and we take that as keys to the car, keys to the freedom, and we learn that and we step out of the easily manipulated, tormented, easily triggered stay safe mentality. That's what we want. That's what we're working for. And you learn that risk is your friend. You learn that risk is your friend. Freedom is your friend. You learn live free or die, for death is not the greatest of evils. That's my state motto. Live free or die, for death is not the greatest of evils. But what have we said lately? Death is the worst possible thing that could ever happen to you. Hide in your house. Do whatever Karen says. Oh my gosh, stay safe. You know what the greatest of evil is? Is living a shriveled life in your house alone, doing whatever they tell you to do to stay safe. So you shrivel up and give up everything, all your freedom, all your risk taking, all your ability to love and touch and be real and heal and get messy and give all that up and give up all the possibility of how lives change in synergistic touching and risking for the sake of some fleeting idea of safety that doesn't even exist, because we're all going to die, friends. You're going to die alive. You're going to die free. You're going to die passionate. You're going to die risking. You're going to die loving. You're going to die thinking for yourself, or you're going to live safe in some shriveled up little world where they tell you what to do all the time just to preserve yourself and keep you from hurting anyone else. Oh my gosh, if you just wanted to hurt no one else, then you shouldn't try loving. You shouldn't try to have relationships. You shouldn't try thinking. You shouldn't try talking. You shouldn't try anything, because guess what? Somebody's going to get hurt. But somebody is going to get healed and whole through the process of the sloppiness of being human and risking to love and risking to maintain our freedom and risking to learn to take control over the things that have tyrannized us in our thoughts and live out of the truth of heaven. Fear free living is not optional, it's the only way to live because staying safe is a very sneaky form of death. So, my friends, I'm going to leave it there. But if you would like to watch my 45-minute free webinar for professionals who are dying in a state of burnout because of deep procrastination, anxiety, and fear, there's a link there. You can watch it, enjoy it to your heart's content. We'll be talking more. I've got more things to share with you, but that's it for now. Was that a little slice? I want you to think about the reality that you have to choose to either stay safe or live free. Fear free living is really the only choice if you really want to be alive.